get asked a lot of questions about magnesium, which is an excellent question. We get asked, what is it? Why do we need it? Where do we get it? How much should I take? Which one should I take? These are all great questions, and I want to try my best to answer some of these for you today. I like to call it marvelous magnesium because it does so many great things in the body. Magnesium is a metal or a mineral that comes from the Earth's crust. It's called an alkaline earth metal, and it's found in the soil. And we get it by eating a variety of different foods, and I'll go over some of the foods that have the most magnesium. But the reason it's important is because magnesium supports over 300 different processes in the body. A lot of things going on in our body all the time depend on enzymes. Enzymes are kind of like the workhorses or the tools that make things happen, but they can't work without what we call cofactors, and magnesium is a key cofactor for over 300 different processes that are key for things like energy production, mood regulation, bowel function, heart and muscle and nerve function. So it is an absolutely essential mineral that we don't need a lot of, but we must have it. And the statistics are that the majority of people are deficient in magnesium, mostly because either our soils are depleted, our foods are depleted, or they're just simply not taking in enough. So when you have a deficiency of magnesium, I like to say you're going to feel tense, tight, and irritable. That could be your mood, it could be your muscles, it could be your heart, it could be your bowels. But if you're feeling tense, tight, and irritable, it could be a sign that you're deficient in magnesium. Now you can also measure magnesium, but when we measure it in the blood, just a serum level of magnesium, it may not reflect the red blood cell level, which is the level inside your red blood cells, which is really the key level. And so if you are going to measure it, you want to ask for a red blood cell level, not just a serum magnesium, to truly know if you're deficient. But you can assume you are if you have any of those tense, tight, irritable feelings, or if you're just in the majority of the population, because the majority of us are deficient. So what are the different kinds of magnesium? There's at least eight different kinds of magnesium. Now, it's not the magnesium itself that's different. Magnesium is a basic element. It doesn't change. But our body cannot simply absorb magnesium, and it cannot transport magnesium by itself. So magnesium has to be joined to something else. We call that chelation. The word chelate just simply means join. So we're joining magnesium to something else. And in this case, usually it's something like a protein or an amino acid that helps the magnesium get where it needs to go to do the job that it needs. Now, whatever that magnesium is joined to is going to determine the properties or the results of taking that magnesium. So I've had people tell me, well, I can't take magnesium because it gives me diarrhea. Well, that's certain types, such as oxide or citrate, or that magnesium makes me sleepy. Well, some types do, more specifically like magnesium glycinate. Others are more activating and can support energy, like magnesium malate. So I'm going to cover just a few of my favorite forms and the ones I use most, and I'm going to include down below a reference sheet on magnesium that summarizes all of these for you, and I hope that's really helpful for you. So the one I use the most, that I like the best, is called magnesium glycinate. It's the most calming, it's readily absorbable, most people tolerate it well, and it doesn't typically affect the bowels. In other words, it's not going to give you diarrhea. It may help you sleep better, it may help you feel more relaxed and more calm. So that's generally my go-to, my first magnesium that I like is magnesium glycinate. Now we'll talk about how much here in just a moment. But the next one I want to highlight is called magnesium malate. Magnesium malate is great for helping support muscle irritability, tension, and cramps and spasms in muscles, and it can be a little bit more activating or energizing. So you might want to take magnesium malate in the morning, magnesium glycinate at night. A lot of times they're combined, and that's fine too. You simply would find the best time for you that makes you feel the best at when you're taking it. A lot of magnesiums will combine various forms. There's one particular brand now out there that's combining, I think, 7 different types of magnesium. That's a great way to get a little bit of all of them. But if you need more specific effects, you probably want to be more targeted in what you're getting. I'm going to highlight a couple more here, and the next one I love is magnesium threonate. And it's the only form of magnesium that can actually cross the blood-brain barrier. So it does the best job at helping support your brain, and it can regulate things like anxiety and mood a little more than the other magnesiums. And then we do use magnesium sometimes to help regulate the bowels, especially if you're constipated. That's especially magnesium citrate or magnesium oxide for those. So that's a brief summary of the different types. Epsom salt is called magnesium sulfate. It's great for your bath and helping you relax your muscles again. And there's a few others too that I didn't touch on. Again, you can look at the chart down below to get the full summary. So how do we get magnesium? Well, we have to eat it. It's in our food, and the food has it because it's absorbing it from the soils. So there are certain food types that are higher in magnesium than others, and that's included in the chart that I referenced down below. The different types of foods and how much is in each one. Leafy greens is a great source for magnesium. Beans, seeds, nuts, all are great sources of magnesium. Legumes, that's the beans. So getting more of those foods in your diet, the greater variety you can get, the better, and you're going to get some from your diet naturally. But that brings us to how much magnesium do you need? And the answer is, like many things, it depends. Depends if you're a male or a female. It depends on your age. It depends on your activity levels and your needs. If you're a woman who's still cycling, you might notice that around your menstrual cycle, you crave chocolate more. Well, chocolate, this is one of the best things ever, is high in magnesium. And we sometimes crave chocolate more because we need more magnesium around the time of our menstrual cycle. It can also help with menopause symptoms and hot flashes. But I will give you a general recommendation that for women, around 300 milligrams total, and for men, around 400. But it varies highly depending, again, on what you're doing and what your needs are. And you really can't get too much magnesium, although if you take too much, you might start having more side effects. Most of us, again, are deficient, so most people need to, number one, focus on getting more through their diet, and then number two, take a good quality supplement. So when I supplement, I'm generally giving people anywhere from 100 to 300 extra milligrams, and sometimes more, again, depending on the situation. So that's how much, that's where to get it, that's why, and that's the different types. I hope this answers some of your questions about magnesium. Remember, if you're tense, tight, and irritable, you might need magnesium. Check out the chart below to see which one is the one you might want to start with. We'll see you later in the next video.